بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Today we are in the 12th section, correct? We are doing 12 today, and 12 is Surah Al-Hud. MashaAllah, it's day 12. Is it really day 12? Wow, MashaAllah. It's day 12, we're in Surah Al-Hud, and then Surah Al-Hud will become Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf begins in this section. Our goal in this half an hour together is the goal of investigating and getting curious around what are the beautiful qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to take on in the Quran. So we did spend 10 days examining and looking at what are some of the ugly qualities that we might have that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically addresses in the Quran. And then we talked about how we can work on removing those qualities from our heart. And now in these next 10 days, we're working on identifying what are the beautiful, what's the beauty? Where's the beauty, and how can we bring this on into our hearts during these beautiful days of Ramadan, these blessed days of Ramadan. And hey, listen, if you're feeling like this Ramadan I'm not doing what I usually do, I'm not feeling it, or I'm not getting done what I want, there's a lot of time left, okay? A lot of times you hear people like me say things like, oh my gosh, 12 days have passed so far. Maybe that sounds really kind of frustrating to you. I want you to know that if 12 days have passed, what does that mean? 30 minus 12. That means we still have 18 days left. And in Ramadan, 1 day left is enough to get in what we need of nourishment and fulfillment and connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forgiveness and all of the goodness of this month. So I want you just to feel encouraged and know that there's plenty of time and there's plenty of blessing and there's plenty still waiting for us to take on and soak up in these months. Okay, in these days. All right, so here we go. So we're going to start today, my glasses on. We're going to start today on the very first page of the 12th juz' of Surah Al-Hud. And notice it's not the first page of the surah itself, because the surah itself actually begins on the page before that. But if you are looking at the section itself, it'll be the first page of the section. And we're going to look at verse 11, but actually it's a collection of verses. So verse 11 finishes the thought. But in considering, okay, what is that beautiful thing that we need? I just want to share with you verse 9, 10, and 11 together. And verse 9 says, وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنَّا رَحْمَةً ثُمَّ نَزَعْنَاهَا مِنْهُ إِنَّهُ لَيَئُوسٌ كَفُورٌ. If we give the human being a taste of mercy from us, then we take it away from him, and he becomes desperate and ungrateful. So now, if we were in the last 10 days, we would be talking about what we want to rid ourselves of. But I just want to hold that thought for a minute. Let's go to the next one, which is the second thought of this one. وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَاهُ نَعْمًا بَعْدَ ضَرَّاءَ مَسَّتْهُ لَيَقُولَنَّ ذَهَبَ سَيِّئَاتُ عَنِّي إِنَّهُ لَفَرِحٌ فَخُورٌ. And then if we give him a taste of comfort after a hardship has touched him, he says, evil has gone away from me, and he becomes boastful and overexalting. So here's the verse we want. This is the verse we want for today. We want all the verses. But here's the verse we want for today, to just settle in for a minute and say, how am I adding this into how am I beautifying my heart with this? إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَئِكَ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. Except for those who are of the people of sabr, and I'm going to talk about that word for a minute here. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and the people of doing good deeds. Now the beauty, أُولَئِكَ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. These are the people that are gathering all the forgiveness and gathering all the award. I want to unpack this for a minute for us, because I really think It's important. It's such a simple verse. And it comes right after two really important statements that declare what does not please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what were those two statements? One is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses a person and they're not thankful. He blesses them with mercy and then takes it away. And instead of saying, alhamdulillah, I felt mercy before, now I don't have it, he becomes all just a mess because he's missing out on something that he had before. He becomes entitled, I believe is the word we would use today, feeling privileged or entitled. And the second verse that also describes a state we don't want to have, which is a person has been given comfort after a hardship, and then when they get that comfort, they're like, oh, look what I did. I'm so great. I really know how to handle this. MashaAllah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse that we're looking at is saying the people who don't do that, we want to be those who don't do that, are those who الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. So those are two really important qualities that means. And the first is sabr. Now sabr is translated as patience. In Western culture, in English speaking culture, the word patience often means things we wait in line for. And that is not the meaning of sabr. Sabr is not waiting in line for your turn. Sabr is not following the bureaucratic rules of a place that you are in without whining about them. Sabr is much bigger than that, much deeper than that. I've tried really hard to find a word in English that is a good translation for sabr, and I haven't. I found many different words, but I haven't found what I could say, here's the word that really gives us this meaning. But I do have a picture in my head of the meaning. My great-grandmother, okay, so she was an Iowa farmer, and I have a picture of her when she was a very young woman, and she's a very beautiful young woman, mashallah. In fact, I wish I had a picture to show you her now, but she was a beautiful young woman. And I also have a picture of her as a woman of probably about my age. And she's still, she looks the same, she looks older, but something has really changed in her face. And it's so obvious. And to me, it is a visual description of sabr. Her facial expression is the same. You know, people back then, they didn't give a smile for the camera. They just looked at the camera with a pleasant look, perhaps, or maybe just a plain look. And so we have two pictures of her looking at the camera with a pleasant look. It's an upturned mouth, slightly smiling. The big difference, her lips have thinned. And so if you think about that, it's a smile that is there of gratefulness, a smile that is there of realizing hardship. And she had a lot of hardship. She was an Iowa farmer in a different century, with lots of children, farm accidents, poverty, the depression, so much, polio, so much, the Spanish flu. I mean, all sorts of things. And yet you see her, she's not in despair. She's with a smile, but you do see on her face that life hasn't been a box of cupcakes. That's just what life is. Life is not a box of cupcakes. And if I'm the first one to share with you that life is not a box of cupcakes, I'm really super sorry. Because someone should have told you that before, but it isn't. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. But that is, for me, the visual of the meaning of sabr. The meaning of sabr is that you deal with the issues, the pain, the struggle. You walk through them, not around them. We can't avoid life struggles. We walk through them with tawakkul, with trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, strength from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, expecting the mercy and forgiveness and help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is indeed perseverance. It is also forbearance. Forbearance and perseverance. It is diligence. It is accepting. It is not dwelling on any single problem. It is being grateful for whatever we have and not obsessing with what we don't have. And this is sabr. Somewhere in there is sabr. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا, except for those who really are people of patience. So that's what we want to become. We want to be people of real patience. We want to bring that into our heart. And I have something really beautiful for you that the Prophet ﷺ tells us, and actually it's a verse in the Quran as well, that the people of sabr, they enter Jannah بِغَيْرِ الْحِسَابِ. They enter Jannah without being held to account. Ya Allah. Wow. I need that first. I can't. Ya Rabbi dakhilak. Ya Rabbi. Hey, alhamdulillah. So sabr. That's just, life is hard, okay? Life is hard, and it has been hard. It is part of life. Personally hard, community-wise, socially. We're all doing our best to make it a better world for the next generation. And everything you do does make things better. We are helpers in the world. We are helpers when we are trying to help. But in being helpers, we still can't stem the onslaught of difficulty. In fact, one of the signs of the end of times is that these tragedies and all these things there will become more of them and more of these problems. And so as we're working hard, we can't stem the onslaught of life. But we can be people of sabr. People of sabr are those who are truly able to take on whatever comes to them with that thin lip smile. It's not denial. It's not laughing it off. It's not a chemical denial where we're drinking alcohol or smoking something because we can't handle it so we can smile. It's not burying ourselves in entertainment so that we can smile. It's not spending a million years on social media or movies or Netflix or whatever so that we can smile and forget. No. Sabr is not forgetting. Sabr is exactly taking on and facing the difficulty. Thin lip smile because we're still appreciative. Even as we see the difficulty, we see all the blessings around it. And we know how much we're blessed. And the second piece, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَعَمِلُوا صَالِحَاتِ. The first one might be difficult. That's an attitude change. You have to decide your attitude. That's up to you. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yesterday on Instagram, and maybe it's one of you guys who said it to me. Somebody sent me a message. The thing that I put up about my trip to my aunt-in-law, she sent me a message saying, oh my gosh, you're so lucky that you found good in-laws. You're so lucky that you found... And I said to her, actually, it's all about attitude. Because we're all human beings. And I'm a mother-in-law. And my son-in-law, I'm a mother-in-law. My son-in-law could see my busyness and my work in dawah and my work in Rabata and this really overwhelming work. He could look at me and say, boy, you're really a pain to have as a mother-in-law. You don't help us enough. You're not around enough. Why aren't you cooking for us? And I mean, I do my best, but certainly I can't do what other mother-in-laws can. But he doesn't have that attitude because he's chosen, as far as I know, alhamdulillah, he's chosen to see what's good in me. And this is sabr. Okay, we choose to see the good. We're not waiting for perfection. Don't wait for perfection from anyone. You're not providing perfection for anyone, so don't wait for it from anyone. Be of the people of sabr. But that one is harder because that's an attitude decision. You have to decide to see what is good, to see the positive. You have to decide to just move forward with excitement and love for the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the second one, we can all do that. We should all be able to do that. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Do good deeds. Wouldn't this world be a better place if we were just plain old doing good deeds? Yeah, it'd be amazing. And if we all did good deeds, we would also help everyone else have a good day. Because when we're doing nice things and good things, and we're volunteering for humanitarian nonprofits, when we're volunteering for educational nonprofits, when we're volunteering for people who are doing the good work, we're helping other people have good experiences. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. They are the people who have forgiveness and a great reward, because we're landing in our life with both feet and a full heart. Yeah. So that's the beauty we want to bring in our heart, okay? That's a long one on just that one short verse, but it's very important. Let's go to verse 41. I think this one is a fun one to think about, because this surah has a lot of stories of parables of the Anbiya, the prophets. And because of our topic, I'm not going to pause on these stories too much, but I want to just look at this sentence and see it for us today. وَقَالْ, this is about Noah, okay? Nabi Nuh. وَقَالْ أَرْكَبُوا فِيهَا بِسْمِ اللَّهِ مَجْرَيْهَا وَمُرْسَاهَا إِنَّ رَبِّي لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Get on it in the name of God. It sails and anchors. Surely my Lord is most forgiving, very merciful. So I want to tell you here, one of the ways I want us to beautify our hearts today is I want us to get on the ship. Get on the ship Allah sent you, and stop looking at it and wondering if it's good enough. Can you imagine at Noah's time, Nuh, as his son did, let's see, saying, oh, no, I'm okay. I don't need your help. There's a joke. I think I told it once, but I'll tell it again. There's a joke that is an old joke, well known, that I feel is relative to this, which is a flood comes, man is in his house, and people come to help him, come get out of the house, and he says, no, God will save me. So the people, they have to leave. So then he's there, and in the Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad, then the water fills up the first floor. He goes up to the second floor. He's hanging out the window. A boat comes down looking for anyone who's left in the houses. They see him. They say, come on, we'll save you. No, I'm okay. God will save me. God will save me. The boat keeps going. Now the water's so high, he's at the top of his house. He's at the top of his house, and the helicopter comes and throws down the rope ladder, and says, come on, we got you. And he says, no, God will save me. Well, the water comes and he dies. And in this joke, this is not a true story, okay? This is a joke. But it's nonetheless, there's a truth in this joke I want to share. In this joke, he stands before God and he says, God, why didn't you save me? And God says, I sent you, your neighbor, a boat and a helicopter. قال اركبوا فيها بسم الله مجريها ومرساها إن ربي لغفور رحيم. Let's get our hearts beautiful. Look around. What has Allah sent you as help? Get on the boat. Ramadan is your boat. Ramadan is your boat. Get on your boat. Ramadan is your boat. Irkabu. Get on the boat and let's go. Let's go. Let's just get on. Stop worrying about if it's perfect. Oh, my Ramadan isn't perfect. Okay. Get in the boat. That's all right. Oh, I can't take a class. I'm so busy. I might not be a perfect student. Get in the boat. Oh, I don't want to attend, a virtual masjid because, I'm on Zoom so much and I can just be on my own as you fall asleep on the couch. Get on the boat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending you boats. Get in the boat. I always think, why didn't they get in the boat? Like, how hard is it? Get in the doggone boat, people. But they don't. Even his own son is like, I'm going to take myself to the mountain over there where I'll be fine. And the water comes and he drowns. One of the saddest verses of the Quran in my view. Every time I read it, it breaks my heart. For Noah. And yet we, as individuals, Allah sends us boats. Let's get on the boat. Let's get on the boat. Okay. I want to go to 112, 113, and 114. And looking at the time, these might be the last ones we do today, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Alhamdulillah. All right, let's get them up here. 112, 113, and 114. Here we have some clear directions. Remember yesterday, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like, we found a grocery list in the Quran of what we need to take on in our hearts. Well, today, we also have some clarity. Okay, some really clear verses here. Verse 112. Nope. Yes, 112. فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ وَلَا تَطْغَوْا إنه بما تعملون بصير ولا تركنوا إلى الذين ظلموا فتمسكم النار وما لكم من دون الله من أولياء ثم لا تنصرون وأقم الصلاة طرف النهار وزلفا من الليل إن الحسنات يذهبن سيئات ذلك ذكرى للذاكرين واصبر فإن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين. All the way up to 115. Okay, nice clear things. Get ready. This is like, get ready, open your heart and get ready to put this stuff in there and work on hanging them up and getting them in there and closing that door and holding them in. First, istaqim, stand firm in faith. Stand firm in faith. That's the first one. وَلَا تَطْغَوْا. Don't cross the limits. إِنَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. God is watching us. So stand firm in faith and don't cross the limits. God sees you. It doesn't make any sense to act in a certain way in front of people and act in a different way not in front of them, because God sees you there and Allah sees you here, and it's all the same. So we want beautification in our heart. Hold steady. Hold firm. Next. وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Don't lean towards, don't incline towards the wrongdoers. Don't incline towards them. Remember, we're all adults. Choosing to do wrong, just like if we choose to do wrong, we've chosen that. That's the choice of others. Surround yourself. Yesterday we talked about one important thing is to surround yourself with people of beauty to help you bring on the beauty. And then the next one. Again, a clear direction of something to add. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ. Establish prayer at both ends of the day. Establish prayer. And وَزُلُفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ. And in the night. Tahajjud. You guys have heard me talk about tahajjud before. And now we have a really clear verse calling upon us to remember that through our worship, we decorate our hearts. There's a $1 billion industry, makeup industry. And women pay thousands of dollars to beautify their faces. Buy something to help you get up at night. Buy a nice candle. Fix up your house so that you have a nice chair. Go out and buy a really nice chair to sit in your little place. My kids call it my prayer station. Turn it into your little masjid. Make it a beautiful place for you. Go spend money on it. If you're spending money on lipstick and stuff to beautify your face, Allah doesn't see you as pretty. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on your face, Allah won't see you as pretty until you start beautifying your heart. That's just the way it is. And so if you spend money on that, like go out and take care of it. Fix your area. Don't be stingy with that which will help your heart. You can't wake up at night? Buy a special snack you only eat at night. Do something that, make a rule for yourself. Get up at night. إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ سَيِّئَاتِ. Good deeds wash away our bad deeds. ذَلِكَ ذِكْرَ لِلذَّاكِرِينَ. And the next verse. Again, we're back to our first word. وَاصْبِرْ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. وَاصْبِرْ. Be patient. Have forbearance. Have that thin-lipped smile of strength and gratefulness. And know, be sure, decorate your heart with a certainty that what you do, you will be rewarded. Allah doesn't lose it. You know how you lose all your to-do lists? I'm speaking to myself first. I don't lose them too much anymore because I try to keep them in a notebook, but I still sometimes do. You know how you lose that number you wrote down, the password you wrote down that you didn't want to lose? Allah doesn't lose your deeds. Whatever you do of good, that time you really wanted to say something rotten to someone and you bit your tongue so you wouldn't, that's written for you. That time you wanted to just follow up and something someone said to you that wasn't very nice and have a fight, that's written for you. That time you chose a positive attitude with people that were maybe not such easy people. But most people, let me tell you something about the human being. Outside of some people who are truly, like their spirit has been warped, most people are just trying to do their best. They really are. So when we have husn zan, when we think well of them, we can be a positive influence on them, and then we can just stop fighting with everybody. And when you do that, that's reward for you, and Allah doesn't lose it. Allah doesn't lose that. It's there for you. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. It'll be there for you. Our section today closes with the story of the beginning. Yes, correct. Good deeds erase bad deeds, but the opposite is not true. Not even close to true. Not even close to bad deeds. A bad deed you seek forgiveness for, and you can get forgiveness for it. A good deed, if you think about doing it, you're rewarded for thinking about it. And if you actually do it, you get extra reward. And in Ramadan, even extra reward. This section closes out with the beginning of Surah Yusuf. Now, Surah Yusuf is a very beautiful surah that is a story of a prophet. It's the only surah in the Quran that is really a full story that starts. It's a beginning to the end story. All of the others are parables and parts of the stories. And I'm not going to go over the story here because what we're looking for is how we are going to enlighten our hearts and make our hearts beautiful. But I want to point something out. It starts out by saying, Alif Lam Ra, Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Mubin, Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyya, La'allakum Ta'qilun. These are the verses, the clear verses in the book. And we have sent down to you the Arabic Quran. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. So that you can think. So you can use your brain. So as you're reading this story, you're thinking, what do I need to take on in my heart? And talk about attitude. Think about what Nabi Yusuf's own brothers did to him. And yet by the end of the story, he's forgiving and accepting of them. SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah, it's really something. So let's go forth and beautify our hearts today. Let's go forth and beautify our hearts today and really take on these meanings in a very serious way. And find ways to make sure that we are people of sabr. That sabr becomes part and parcel of our hearts. All right, I have a speaking engagement in a very short time, so I have to be there in about 10 minutes. So it's an online one. I'll be speaking for Lamppost. I think it's called. I think it'll be on Facebook if you want to follow me over there. But I am. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to jump off now. But I really thank you for being with me here today. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and help you and make these days of beauty for every single one of you. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.